Nithyanandam everyone, coming to you live from Nithyananda Peetham, Bengaluru, Adinam. This is the Vaidya Sarovar, which you can see there's a 21-foot Shiva Linga made of a Navapashana, which is a combination of 1008 herbs that are mixed into 9 special devices. And when those are combined with a special stone, you're able to create a deity such as this that has super healing powers. So anyway, I just wanted to share a little bit more of my understanding about Paramashivoham. And actually Swamiji spoke on a live satsang this morning at Nityananda TV, also through Facebook, on Paramahamsa Nithyananda page, the Nityananda TV page, the Nityananda Gurukul page, and other pages. And so, what I understood Swamiji was talking about was saying that the goal and purpose of life is that we need to add content and consciousness to our time. And the homework was to write down 10 times in your life where you can remember where you kind of just passed time, whether it was 1 day, 2 days, 2 weeks, 10 days, 2 months, or years, where you weren't really engaged and conscious of what was going on, but you were just passing time. And it's really, I mean, kind of interesting for me for many different reasons. One of them is that Swamiji also discusses about different dimensions, length, breadth, depth, time, and space as kind of 5 initial dimensions. There's a dimension of sound, and a dimension in which whatever space you hold consciously gets manifested. So it's kind of interesting for me because when we talk about the dimension of time, it's pretty hard for us to kind of visualize beyond that, but these spaces do exist, and the dimension exists where sound exists, but length, breadth, and depth don't exist. And Swamiji had mentioned at a certain point that this is where munis can reside. The mauna is the silence within, being established within the silence within. So one who is completely immersed within the vibrant silence, really the radiant cosmic energy of Om, of the universe, when one gets completely dissolved into that, then that being would be able to exist in the dimension where sound exists, but length, breadth, and depth do not. So anyway, for me it's just kind of like trying to put some context to what is going on. And Swamiji had mentioned like the purpose of his life is giving us conscious breakthrough, giving us conscious expansion, giving us access to expanded conscious experiences, and the purpose of our life is to receiving that. And it's really amazing because then if you look at the context of what my life is, and I was looking at the homework of like, is there any time that I felt that I have not been engaged? And I do remember when I was in university, I always think university is such a silly thing. There's no reason anyone needs to spend so many years, and even if it's like a few months at a time and then a few month break, there's no reason anyone needs so much time of breaks. And the other thing that happens is basically what you do is you break it down to, say if you're doing, actually I was there for 6 years. So if you're there for 6 years, I actually went through, I think it was 13 semesters. And, with the semester breaks in between, it's like, well, why do you stretch your degree out to be an extra year longer than it has to be? Just because you want to have a 3 or 4 month break. And I remember thinking, like, because you get into the space where, you have 2 papers due tomorrow, you haven't started yet, it's 10 at night, and you're like, what am I doing? And then you want to make it meaningful, you want the paper to be meaningful, but there's just no time, So you sleep, you clean, you cook, you eat, and then it's like you have 3 hours left and you end up, writing 1 paper in 45 minutes and 1 in an hour, and then, pack your lunch and go to school. And then it's kind of like, why am I doing this? And I remember getting into those spaces, and even like if you go out on weekends, whatever, staying out late doesn't in many ways at all help your studying, but I remember many times throughout that 6 years just thinking, what the heck am I doing? Like, when I'm in the space of this, 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 month semester where there's these courses, many times you forget that the goal was, which is kind of a ridiculous goal, to get the paper, right? To get the diploma. That's the goal. But then somehow at the end of the 4 years, it's like they're giving me the paper. And it's like, why? There was so many times during that 4 years I completely forgot, why I was there, that I was supposed to be achieving this paper. And they give me the paper anyway. And I always thought when I was done university, that was one of the most mysterious and mysterious things that can exist, is that humans can live with an intention that's going to take years to achieve, and on that path, while they are presumably on the path of achieving or creating that thing, they can forget so many times that they're on that path, but somehow at the end still achieve it. And to me, Swamiji spoke directly to that today. I mean, most of my life has been that space where I'm not conscious of what I'm doing. There's not content in my consciousness. There's not content in my time. There's not meaningful content in my time. There's not like consciousness in my time. Most of the life is that you're spending this hour to get to the next hour, and there's some agreement you made with the society and the social structure that at the end of this many hours, this many days and years, that a letter will be written for this, and then you'll be able to pass time in another way without being conscious about how you're passing time. So it's after Swamiji repeated the topic of the satsang for about the 3rd time today, I just grabbed the brahmachari on my right and I said, I'm going to have to watch this again. And he's like, I know, it's going way over our heads. And he spoke such simple terms, but it was so deep and profound and fundamental. And Swamiji speaks about wanting to have mature conversations with humanity now. And man, that was a mature conversation. Just like he's saying, like, I'm not here to teach morality or integrity or authenticity or even responsibility or to put any rules on you. I came here to give beings conscious expansion, to imbue more content and consciousness into their time, and to experience further dimensions. Swamiji is going to make people be able to exhibit astral travel to other planets and telepathic communication to different beings, which we're already doing basically. And whatever dimensions are beyond that, of course, I have no idea, but it's just amazing and it's true. If the superconsciousness takes human form and comes, then that's why he's here. And really, if we're not living that, this is a complete waste of time. And I'm still reeling a little bit. It's late afternoon here, early evening coming. I'm still reeling a little bit like, yeah, my life has been a complete waste. And the honest truth is, if you're not spreading superconsciousness to other beings, then what you're doing is minuscule, actually. Because the reality is, we come from the space of superconsciousness, and if we're not expressing that, we're seriously mired in this Maya. And nothing else matters. If you build 100 Kentucky Fried Chicken businesses, it's like, that's okay, but it still doesn't address the issue of you being a superconscious being, but living like a human. So, yeah, Paramashivoham, Swamiji is guaranteeing to give the ability that you will never again be stuck into the life of having no content and consciousness in your time. So no more unconscious living. So you can manifest really what you want. I gotta go here. The time's cutting out. We'll be right back. Nithyanandam.